So over the weekend, some reports came out about James Harden and potentially leaving, potentially getting traded, wanting out of Brooklyn. This isn't what he signed up for because he wanted it to be the big three, et cetera, et cetera. I've done a lot of research on this. It's something I've joked around in the past. I've made fun of it. We've had some laughs. We've created crazy analogies. But James Harden, you're the problem, bro. Like, at what point do we stop making excuses for this guy? It's just, he wants out of Brooklyn. Those are the reports. Like, he wants to get traded, right? The Sixers are, like, heavily rumored to getting James Harden. If you're new to VM, I've been defending James Harden for years. I had bet on him to win the MVP in 2016, 2017. Russell Westbrook won the MVP that year. And everybody was wrong about voting for him for MVP. And I'll never let that go. And I'm not a, watch the games kind of guy or, like know a certain sport or else don't talk about it. Like, I'm not that kind of guy. But the reason why he won MVP that year was because of the triple-double. That's the reason why Russell Westbrook won the MVP. Because in the history of NBA basketball, in the history of the NBA MVP award, up until that year, you had to be a top 4 seed in order for you to be eligible to win MVP. It might have even been top 3 seed. Russ that year with the Thunder was a 6 seed. But why did he win it? Because KD left, went to the Warriors. He left them behind. Russ stayed. Finish what you started kind of thing. Everyone got behind that shit. And he goes out there and he drops a triple-double for the season, something that only Oscar Robertson had done. And the reason why I say know the history, know the game, is because the following 2 seasons, you know who averaged the triple-double? Russell Westbrook. You know who averaged a triple-double when he was with the Wizards? Russell Westbrook. And every single year, he went lower and lower on the totem pole for MVP listing. That year, he was a 6 seed. James Harden won 8 more games than he did, and he ended as the 3 seed. They even beat them in the playoffs. I believe they squared off in the playoffs, too. And it was just wrong. It was just wrong. And it was about like 110 rebounds that Harden was short of in order for him to get a triple-double that year, too. I think his numbers were insane. Like, he averaged like 9 rebounds a game, too. It wasn't anything crazy. Like, dude was put up crazy numbers. But I want to stay on task with this James Harden shit, right? Because let's go back. Let's go back to the beginning. He gets drafted by Oklahoma City. And we always said, like, oh, this team's going to be around for a minute. They're young. They got the youngest roster. And then, bam, 2011, 2012 happens. They end up in the finals. They play the Heat and they play LeBron. Russ is 30. He was, 22, 23. KD was 22. Harden, like, all these guys are the same age. They're all, like, no one's older than, like, 23. They have Ibaka also. And you're looking at this team and you're like, yo, this team's going to be around for a minute. What? Lakers are getting old. Mavs are getting old. Spurs are getting old. Like, they even beat the Spurs that year to get there. And you're looking at them and you're like, yo, Harden he's the guy that makes them different, right? Because they had Russ, they had KD, and you knew what they were getting. And they had the rim protector and Serge Ibaka. And then you had some, like, pieces around too, but those were, like, the main guys. And then James Harden was, like, the X factor. And then he ends up leaving Oklahoma City when they make the finals with him. He wins 6th Man of the Year. The Thunder have a dilemma. They're looking at their roster like, oh, shit, are we going to keep both of these guards? Nah, let's gravitate to the big. Let's keep Serge Ibaka because we need a big. We need a rim protector. We need a big body in the front court. We already have a guard like Russell Westbrook. So they trade him. They trade Harden. He goes to the Rockets. And when he goes to the Rockets, the James Harden brand, the James Harden public perception shifted from a guy who's a really good basketball player to superstardom. Only a few players have accomplished the kind of stuff that he's accomplished. Assist champion, 3-time scoring champion, 7-time All-NBA guy, 3-time scoring champion. I think I said that twice because I'm an idiot. 9-time All-Star. on the 75th anniversary team also. That's on his like Wikipedia and Basketball Reference. And he won an MVP. And there were many years that he was with the Rockets where people were like, yo, he should have been MVP like 3-4 times over. He gets a sneaker deal. He's the face. It's the beard is his thing. He's dating a Kardashian for a little bit. He's in the limelight. He's in rap videos. Like, dude was the man. What he wanted, he got, right? He left because he wanted to be a star. He didn't want to be just another piece of a core. Like, he wanted to have his own team. And Harden is a guy who he just strikes me based on all these reports who cares more about his image and being a star and making money, which ain't a bad thing too. But then you also can't be like, yo, I want to win a championship. I don't feel as if what he's been doing shows us that. He signs a 4-year extension with the Rockets the summer of 2016 for $118 million. The following season, he signs another 4-year extension, which gives him a total. His contract now is 6 years for $228 million. At the time, the richest contract in NBA history. And he's probably, based on his age and his style of play and how productive he still is, despite it looking gross sometimes, he's probably going to get another big contract. So that's 3 big contracts that he signed and extended. He'll be a top 5 to 10. When you look at those charts of like money that a player has made in his playing career, he'll be up there in like NBA history. But you look at the resume, it's like, yo, at what point is it you? Constantly no showing in the playoffs in big spots. I'll never forget when they lost by like 35 at home to the Spurs in like a game 6. 4 of 27 shooting performances. Showing up out of shape, has his jersey retired in a Houston strip club. Like, dude cared more about being a star, a superstar, because he was a superstar. Still is a superstar, in my opinion. I think so. But he's a guy who cared more about his image than like actually getting W's. And at what point do we say, yo, James, buddy, first name basis, because we're friends. At what point is it you? At what point are you the problem? Here's a list of the players that came to play with James Harden and have left him. You can't use he didn't have no talent around him. Nah, that's just not true. That is factually not true. They get Dwight Howard, who at the time, Dwight was still a problem. They get Eric Gordon, who found a role for himself with D'Antoni and Daryl Morey, that pairing of GM and head coach, who he got out the door also, right? D'Antoni comes in, he runs the Steve Nash Phoenix Suns kind of offense with him, and he has a more elusive, high pace kind of guy, speeds the game up, court vision and all that. And the game also changed, right? So he had D'Antoni also, so you can't say that he had a bum coach. Yeah, D'Antoni's never won a championship, but he ain't a bum coach. Like, he's a really good coach. Really good coach, especially in the regular season too. And he's just ran into the Spurs a couple of times when Amari Stoudemire got fucking boarded into the... No, I think it was Steve Nash got hit by like Robert Horry, and then Amari stepped on the court and he got suspended. So he's ran into teams that ended up winning championship dynasties. He ran into the Spurs a bunch of times. That's why he didn't win in Phoenix. But Eric Gordon finds a home for himself in Houston. Lou Williams. Ryan Anderson. Remember Ryan Anderson? When Ryan Anderson came to the Rockets, that was like a sofa, steal of free agency. Dude at the time was like a great piece for the Rockets in that system. Yeah, the way it ended sucked. But that first season and 2 seasons, like Ryan Anderson was like, yo, dude's a baller. He's a beast. Joe Johnson, PJ Tucker, Capella. They bring in Melo. They bring in Chris Paul. He played with Russ and KD. They bring in Russ again. They bring in Oladipo. Then he gets out of Houston and he goes to Brooklyn and he plays with KD and Kyrie again. And now again he wants out of Brooklyn. Or that's what the reports are, right? We're only going off the reports. But we've seen this time and time again. So I just asked, yo, at what point is it you? Think about this. If you have a friend and they get married at 25. Shit happens, life happens, they get divorced at 28. At 30, they get married again. At 33, they divorce again. So now he's 2 relationships in, 2 marriages in, he divorces. Then he gets married a 3rd time, divorces again. Then a 4th time, divorces again. Now you're on your 5th marriage. At one point, are you not going to turn to the rest of your friends and be like, yo, isn't fucking Jake? Isn't it Jake? Isn't it Jake who's the fucking asshole and is in all these relationships? It can't be the girl in this scenario, right? It can't be the girl. It got to be him because all these relationships didn't work out because of Jake. Jake, in this analogy, is James Harden. All these relationships with him haven't worked because of him. So I ask, and I've asked many times again, at what point is it you? If you guys are listening to me and you're following like my whole career in podcasting and as a content creator, and then all of a sudden I get married one day, and then I divorce, and then I get married again and again and again, and then before you know it, I'm 5 marriages in, and I've been divorced on all 5. Aren't you gonna be like, yo, I kind of like his betting stuff. I love his podcast. I love the guests he has on, but I probably wouldn't want my sister to date him or my daughter to date him because he just can't keep a relationship together. And that'd be totally like applicable and totally like validated. You'd be like, yo, Lamb's an asshole. He can't keep a relationship. That's what James Harden is. James Harden just like time and time again. And look, if he ends up going to the Sixers because like Daryl Morey's there too, and if he butchers it at that place again, I'm never trading anything for him, because you're going to have Tobias there. You're going to have Thibault. You're going to have Embiid, obviously. You're going to, and Doc Rivers is a respectable coach, though he has his lapses in the playoff games as well. But, man, I'm just like I'm kind of tired defending him. I've been a huge James Harden guy. I've defended him through thick and thin. But at what point do we got to just like ask ourselves, is it him? Is he the issue for all the issues that go on around every place that he's been to? So that's just how I feel. I'm happy we had a solo pod today because I just needed to get a couple things off my chest. Thank you all for listening. Check out the YouTube channel. You can watch some of the shows on there. There's clips. Follow us on TikTok, Instagram. I gave all the plugs before, but it's basically at Veterans Minimum everywhere. And yeah, there's still a couple spots left. I think we have like 16 spots left in the Super Bowl pool. If you guys want to join in on that, it's a $50 contribution per box. First quarter, halftime, third quarter, all get some nice money. There's a PS5 or an Xbox on the line, winner's choice, and $500. You could also be like, yo, I don't want the game console because I'm not a gamer, or I have both, or I have one of them, and you could get the cash value of it. We donate. Last year, we donated about $500 to a charity here in Queens. We're going to do the same. We're going to donate about $1,000 to this charity as well. So it goes to a good cause. It's fun. Last year went really well. Ran it back. Got some good feedback on that. And yeah, let us know. Holla at me. Tell me what you think of this episode. And we'll be back Wednesday with some more shit.